Hello, everyone. Gretchen Ray here with A Ray of Wellness. I'm sitting and talking with my friend Jody today. I wanted to talk a little bit about alternative methods as far as healing is concerned and approaches to health. So, and for those of you who don't know me, I am a certified holistic nutritionist and I help people get healthier pretty much. So I'm accountability and coaching, and I do group coaching and personal one-on-one coaching to help people reach their best selves. So today I want to talk with Jody about how she ended up becoming an affiliate with Young Living Essential Oils and how she ended up being acquainted with oils, period. Because many of us have heard of it, but many of us don't understand or don't know anyone who's actually used them to help in their health and wellness. And I'm just going to start first with Jody. I know that your son, Matthew, has some health issues. So do you want to start and tell us a little bit about that?
So we've been struggling with health issues with our youngest son since he was about 5, and he's now 15.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
It's a long time. I didn't realize it was that long.
It has been that long. Yep, it has been that long. So when we found out that he was diagnosed with Lyme disease and several other tick-borne illnesses, we were kind of at the mercy of the healthcare system. Mm-hmm. And I I eventually had a friend come over and she was like, "Have you ever heard of oils?" And I was like, "No." So basically she just came over to my house one day. She sat down at my kitchen table, super casual, and she just kind of walked me through a basic starter kit, which I didn't know at the time was going to play a major role in supporting our son's body better than mainstream medicine. The first oil that was kind of our leading oil, sort of like our starter oil, was Thieves. What I had done really is I took the kit, took out the Thieves, shoved the kit in a cupboard, and I really didn't touch it for several months. But once we realized that mainstream healthcare wasn't really providing everything that we needed, I slowly started to pull that kit back out and really started to do my own research.
So when you say that mainstream healthcare wasn't helping you, what was the failure that you were seeing with it?
So we started with just regular practitioners who kind of were just like, oh, the diagnosis might just be ADHD, or there's nothing really wrong with him. So then we moved on to what's called an LLMD, so a Lyme literate doctor, and there's only so much that they can do as far as Lyme disease is concerned, and there's only so many medicines that they can prescribe. So a lot of times when you're on that amount of medicine, and when I mean that amount of medicine, so I remember purging the medication after we realized that we could use oils to support his body better, and we had probably 6 quart-sized Ziploc bags full of bottles and bottles of tried medication that we were just taking to be recycled at
And none of it was actually working or doing what it was supposed to do or
right,
really helping.
Like it worked to whatever potential it could, but our bodies become too familiar with the medication, and it eventually levels off where you're just too familiar with it, and you build a tolerance to the medicine. Mm-hmm. So the cells no longer absorb it the way it's supposed to, and so basically you're just kind of like ruining your gut health.
Interesting. So how long after you started using the oils, like what was the first thing that you noticed, and how long did it take before you noticed anything?
So that might take us off track with the Lyme disease a little bit. We have,
Okay.
We can talk about, there's like kind of two separate stories
Okay.
as far as that's concerned. So our introductory oil, which was Thieves, I really have a testimony with that, which led me to help Matthew. So I used to end up in the hospital or on some kind of a medication every year for bronchitis.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as we started switching out products in our home, like taking out all of the toxin products and replacing it with Thieves, plus using the Thieves on the bottoms of our feet, I didn't get sick anymore.
Wow, that's awesome.
So that led me to be like, okay,
This is real.
this is a real thing. And like, even so, my husband was like, yeah, sure, you can order it if you want, like just another gimmick.
But
like,
he was a skeptic.
yeah,
yes.
he's like, yeah, sure, get the kit. Well, being the man of the house and having his wife down and out every winter from bronchitis, when he saw that I was healthy every winter, he was like, okay, like I'm sold. Like this is not just a gimmick.
Okay.
And so that led me further into doing the research to see what it could do for Matthew.
Okay. And then when you introduced Matthew to it, how long was it before you started to see changes in him and his health?
So it took us about 6 months. But I think what's important to realize is that everybody's body responds differently.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a different level of Lyme or tick-borne illness.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone is different. And so about 6 months is where we started to notice some small changes. It just was able to support his body better than what we'd ever seen the medicine do.
That's awesome. Now, you guys actually travel quite a ways once a month to have a procedure done with him where it's called an infusion. And his doctor is not an alternative medical doctor. He's actually a mainstream medical doctor.
He is.
And what did he say to you when you told him what you were doing or that you wanted to do this route?
Right. So Matthew's body became so sick that between the Lyme, the co-infections, and several cases of strep throat, it brought his immune system down to a non-functioning level. So we travel to Connecticut every 4 weeks for human plasma infusions.
And those of you who don't know, we're in upstate New York, so it's a bit of a drive.
It's 4 hours. It is 4 hours. But we do see one of the top doctors in the nation as far as things like that are concerned. Very well educated man, very mainstream medicine. And so, like, our Lyme history is huge, so it's probably hard to gain all of that just from this interview.
Mm-hmm.
But so he is basically the one that was like, okay, you have this, this, and this. Your other Lyme doctors missed X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have to take yet another step. So, which is where the human plasma infusions come in, which is basically what that does is it, to make it simple, it raises his immune system.
Okay.
But we've been doing it for 2 years. It takes a long time.
Okay.
But he also tried some medication that didn't work. And so I said, I have another idea. I said, would you be open to us trying it? And now you have to remember, like, this is one of the top doctors in the nation, and he's very much mainstream medicine, and he was like, sure. Like, but he's also flexible.
Mm-hmm.
He also, like, if you've got something you'd like to try, like, he's flexible.
Mm-hmm.
So I explained to him everything that I had researched and read about, and he, we carried on my natural protocol for, several months, and his numbers actually improved. So what that means is Matthew has a severe case of what's called Bartonella, which is a tick-borne illness.
Okay.
So when you test for it, it shows that your body is making antibodies to kind of come combat the Bartonella.
Okay.
So we went on the all-natural regimen to support his body, and it showed in a retest that during that time that these products had supported his body so well that he didn't need to make antibodies anymore, and that that everything was like kind of lying dormant.
Nice. Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So I just want to preface this, like, I'm not a doctor, Jody's not a doctor, like, this is just, like, life experience and what we have explored.
Just a mom, nothing fancy.
Yeah, just mom.
Like, just a mom.
You know, I reached out to her and asked her to do this interview with me because I wanted people to know that, you know, there are stories out there. Like, there are positive stories of people that mainstream medicine has failed. I am a very firm believer that, you know, that drugs should be a last resort. And sometimes, you know, people start opposite. You know, people start on drugs and the drugs don't work and they end up having to resort to alternative methods as opposed to going to drugs as a last resort. And, you know, this is a perfect example of that. And the fact that, I think it's encouraging, the fact that we do obviously have some mainstream medical doctors, and hopefully we have more than we know of, that are actually open to and flexible to the idea of trying alternative approaches. And it sounds like you guys have had quite a bit of luck with it. And how long have you guys been doing the natural route with Matthew now?
Oh, wow. So we've actually been with the Young Living Company and had it introduced to our home for 5 years. Matthew on natural treatment has been on and off for almost 2 years.
Okay.
Yep, because you have to cycle it,
Yep.
so you can't, like, there's a lot to learn if you're going to explore that option, but it's a lot better for your body. You just have to make sure that you're kind of researching it and seeing what works for yourself, but it's not something that you can just stay on. Like, your body needs a chance to see what it can do for itself.
Now, you guys, outside of putting Matthew on the, you know, the oil regime, you guys have gotten rid of the environmental toxins within your home. You've changed the way that you eat in your home. I mean, your whole lifestyle has changed to help support everything that you guys are doing.
Yep. Yeah, so we were like your basic family of buy the Windex, buy the 409, see how fast we can get to Bath and Body Works. I mean, but once you have a child that is sick and you are kind of like drastically grasping at anything, you will do anything. So we transform our entire home products and food.
I mean, I've known you for years, and you actually, since you guys started this whole regimen and you changed the way that you were eating too, like, you've actually lost quite a bit of weight.
Sure. Yep. After my last child, we have 3 children. After my last child, it's funny because I was just telling somebody this story this morning. Yeah. After my last child, I was at almost 200 pounds and was on cholesterol medicine for GERD, medicine for emotional support. Extremely unhealthy. Mm-hmm. So a change in lifestyle has allowed me to be healthier.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing what just changing what you eat.
Oh yeah.
And what you expose yourself to.
For sure.
Can
like,
really do.
Food, like people are like, food is medicine. Like, legit, that's a thing.
Yeah.
Like, that is a thing. Food is medicine. It matters what you're using in your home. It matters what products you're putting in and on your body. Like, I can't stress that enough to people. I really believe that the way we live as Americans is a contributor to the majority of our health problems. And I feel like...
Oh, there are a lot of statistics out there to back you up on that.
Right? Like, just with my own health walk, I'm like, okay, so you can either, like, live the American tradition, or you can kind of explore and do what we were made to do.
Yes.
So...
Thank you so much for sharing with us. I do want to note that part of, what I heard when Jody was talking too was that this didn't happen overnight for these guys.
Correct.
We have to remember that our bodies are self-healing machines, and if we give it half a chance, it will do what it needs to do the majority of the time. They didn't start eating healthy overnight. They didn't start cleaning and getting rid of their environmental toxins overnight. This was a journey that they were on.
Right.
And it sounds to me like it mainly started with your cleaning products for the most part.
The cleaning products and just that one bottle of Thieves.
And that one bottle of Thieves, yep.
But, I really feel like if I hadn't shoved that kit into the cupboard, I would have been able to benefit from what that kit had to offer faster.
Sooner.
But that's a process for everybody, right? But if I could ever encourage somebody, I would be like, please try more than one thing. Like, definitely don't overwhelm yourself, right? Because life is overwhelming as
Baby
it is.
steps.
Always take baby steps. Like, I started with one bottle of Thieves and a whole bunch of cleaning products and changing things like that in our home. And then we slowly moved into like supplements and the Ningsgered and things like that. But again, we've been doing this for 5 years. So totally take your time.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining me and talking to me and sharing your story, because I know sometimes, making yourself vulnerable, can be a little intimidating.
Yeah, my hands are sweating and my legs are shaking.
Well, it's been fun, and I hope that somebody out there could, benefited from this. And if you have any questions and you would like to ask, Jody some more questions,
sure.
I can put some information down on how to connect with her if you actually have any information about oils or anything like that. But anyways, thanks again, guys, and I hope you found this useful. And thanks for joining me, Jody. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you. You're welcome.